Shout out to Elon. Rocket science for the kiddos.
Sick.
Hel-
So good.
I
Healthy.
love that.
How's your sleep hygiene? What's your sleep like? What do you?
I'm obviously not getting any sleep. I must be in an episode. Everyone is a medical PhD, right? When it comes to episodes and injuries, right? If someone thinks that you're in an episode, they're like, you need sleep. I'm like, thank you. Who's the most famous doctor of all time? Dr. Fauci?
Yeah, Dr. Fauci. Yes,
It's like,
yes.
you're in an episode, you need sleep. Thank you, Dr. Fauci, right? And then another one is like, if you like hurt yourself or something like that, what does everyone say? Oh, put ice on it. Thanks, PhD.
So good.
Why would there be hospitals if putting ice on it was literally the cure to
all cures?
The cure of all cure. Put ice on it. That's what I did with my first chain and my first watch. I definitely put some ice on it.
Nice.
I'm trying to. I don't know if I got that whole. I kind of went on like this 7-part visual experience. These aren't rants I'm giving you. These are visual experiences, right? I'm painting a picture, a sonic picture. Walk with me here. So the idea is people shame the concept of mental health. It is the lowest form of discrimination. Why? Because you take anything that someone is discriminated for, and that person can discriminate against you and call you crazy. Even a crazy person can call you crazy.
Right.
And it's an interesting, weight to carry. It's an interesting tick here and there. It's like a, some people said that the COVID shot was the mark of the beast. It's like a mark of the beast on my ego, because I could do something crazy in the best way, and it could be like literally like a random person on the street and point like from 2 blocks away and say, that was crazy. And I feel like shit for a little bit. And it hurts as a human being.
Of course.
And
Sure.
it still like hurts my feelings, and it's nothing I could do. And then I start to talk about, well, I made this amount of money to compensate for people downing me, or the fact that people can, I call it Britney Spears dadding someone. I could be talking like to one of these like CEOs or something, and I'm just talking, and it's like they just press mute, and my lips are moving, and they're not hearing anything I say, and they start talking over me. The whole reason why I went to Gap is every step of the way in my career, there was something in the way of my career. There was like, oh, the price point is here, or I can only get this much. So I went to Gap like, okay, this is it. And they did the actual thing. They took the design that I did with Dimna from Balenciaga, and they made a $19 version of the T-shirt. They did the dream, but just without Steve. They did the dream without Ye. But they still want to like do it with that kind of background and all these. And, mark these words of this interview. I'm going to run shit. Right? Here's another. I got a lot of thoughts I thought about in the past 2 weeks. Another thing is like money. The ultimate power is position. It's not money, it's position, because someone in between or at a higher position could determine your fate, and they could have way less money. So when I made that joke about you work at Universal, I could do that because I'm no longer at Universal. So you're no longer the executive that can talk to me like I'm not me. I don't work for you no more. But I honestly believe that Gap and Adidas are part of a bigger plan to marginalize American companies and American industry, which is the opposite of what Danny's doing. And that's why you see this glow coming from me. Because in this prison of finger pointing and name calling, a little crack of light, a little Shawshank Redemption came through that prison cell at that factory today. Now we rocking with Ye.
Let's go.
Let's do it.
I am so inspired by you, and you know, the inspiration that you've had in Aloe. You know, your street sense, your street vibe, and we were talking a lot about that today. And for him, you know, to take the time out and come down and see what we're doing, and then him telling me that our manufacturing and our excellence and our efficiencies were inspiring him. I mean, what a compliment. And we were trying to define, like, how would we call this excellence? What would it be? And we established this is the Ye of manufacturing.
Oh, sick. I love that.
That's the highest compliment. I mean, under God is for me to say it's the Ye version. Because
So
only
good.
God can have the God version. But right underneath that, it's the Ye version.
So good. But we talk about Aloe being a badge, and that it means when you're wearing it, it stands for something. It's
Absolutely.
what you were talking about. And, you know, Danny, when we started doing this a long time ago, you told me what it stood for almost 10 years ago. You had the vision of mind, body, wellness, and of bringing, you know, mental peace to people and through movement and mindfulness. And
Well, thank you. And of course, I mean, team effort, you know, props to you and to so many others, you know, that helped actualize, you know, that vision. I mean, even
I love the word actualize. That's like Donda language instead of execute.
right?
What's a more forward,
Mm-hmm.
you know?
And collaborative, but, you know, even today, walking around with Ye and him being blown away with what we have built. I mean, you know, at the very, very beginning, it started just with two guys in a bedroom having a big vision. And, you know, Marco DeGeorge, you know, my business partner, and building and inspiring these incredible teams to actualize these extraordinary goals. And, you know, one thing that I was speaking with Ye about today is
You see that rhymed?
yay today.
I was telling him that I've read a book at least 100 times. And basically the meaning of the book is that if you believe you can, then you can. But if you believe you can't, then you can't.
There's two people. The man who thinks they can and the man who thinks they can't. And they're both right.
That's right.
That's what you were saying, but that was like a simplified version.
Yeah. The one who wins the race is the one who believes they can. The oak lies in the acorn. And Ye was telling me that he hasn't read this book, but I was telling him that every positive attribute he naturally embodies. And that's extraordinary, you know, to have that confidence, you know, from being such a young kid and going out there and inspiring and having this vision and actualizing it is extraordinary.
Also, when you said I hadn't read this book, I actually haven't read any book. Reading is like eating Brussels sprouts for me. And talking is like getting the Giorgio Baldi corn ravioli.
Yeah.
like a good conversation is Mike Howe, that invented the ripsaw with his brother Jeff Howe, was saying that when his mom texts him like long paragraphs, he reads the first sentence and the last sentence. This person and his brother invented the fastest track vehicle. They put it in G.I. Joe. They have government contracts. This guy is a full-on engineer, works with all geniuses, and for practical, not opinionated, you know, practical technologies. And he only reads the first sentence and the last. And what do you think my response was? Same.
You know, myself, I just went through high school. I started this company with my best friend, you know, when we were teenagers. And 30 years later, here we are. You know, it's pretty incredible.
How did you hold on to that relationship? How did you guys last 30 years?
You know, I think, one, love. I love him, right? And then two, you know, respect. And three, we have the same vision. You know, we believe the same things. And there have been ups and downs, of course. It's a relationship. But we always come back together because we believe in the same thing. And we don't do things just for money. A lot of businesses do. They are just for profit. That is not us at all.
So Danny really loves the logo for the Donda Doves. And he's just looking at it. He's like, that's it. And I'm existing in this like outside of time and space, 2,000 years from now situation where we had this one moment earlier where he asked me about the fabrics and I didn't even have to say a word. We literally just were like communicating with like a head nod, like straight Jedi. That was the one moment that showed where we'll get to, where our great-great-grandkids or our kids and our grandkids will get to that level of language, because the Tower of Babylon, English, you know, the idea of having to speak correct English, like you're not going to respect what I'm saying, even though you know what I'm saying, unless I'm speaking correct English. Well, that's like a version of every time I'm talking, I'm getting pulled over and having to do a alcohol test, walking down a yellow line with my finger on my nose, and while I want to express myself. And I've seen like kids express themselves and they just want to cry, and someone will say, use your words.
Right.
But what if they want to cry? Because we were given that form of expression, and people hold that in. I had a friend that you never saw him break a sweat until we were at his funeral.
Wow.
And that was the head of Louis Vuitton, Virgil Abloh. We never saw him break a sweat until we were at his funeral.
Wow.
So people down expression. And I'm saying be expressive. I'm showing, let's be expressive. Now we talk about language. What I did realize is sometimes it's not that I'm not right. Wait for it. Watch it. I got a good one. Here we go. Sometimes I'm just not right now. It's not right now. It's not that you're not right. It's just not right now. So
you're too ahead of us. Hey, you're too ahead of us.
And I have to like be here, because that's not a good thing to be too ahead, because what do you do then? You lose the audience.
Yeah.
And it's interesting. I've got this technique, this Instagram ideation thing where I just start channeling. I think all the jokes myself. I cut and paste memes and everything myself. I put animated things up.